We had this big, ugly two-story viaduct that went along the front of the city. It separated Pike Place Market from the Waterfront area. And they said, who cares if we spend, I don't know, an extra $1 billion on things here and there and being late? It's going to reinvent and reimagine Seattle. So we went through all of that nonsense and I thought it was a great idea. Now, I would have liked it to be on time and on budget. But at the end of the day, I'm like, yeah, get rid of that ugly viaduct. And I want to be able to walk easily from Pike Place Market down to the waterfront and all these things. So we went through all of that. And then, of course, the work started beautifying the whole area. Okay, now the viaduct is down. Now we're going to have this grand sort of plaza area for tourists, and it'll just be seamless from downtown to the waterfront. We'll have all these, it'll be invigorated. It'll be amazing. How much money did they spend on that element of it? The last numbers we saw were from the Seattle Times. The cost of remaking Seattle's waterfront, it's like $1 billion. And that's just for, by the way, the waterfront portion of it. So again, we're not talking about, digging a giant tunnel under the city to put SR 99. So we're billions and billions of dollars in. But for the Alaskan Way pedestrian promenade, the pier rehabilitations, Overlook Walk and east-west connections, the Seattle Aquarium expansion, the Pike Place Market Front, all of those things, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars spent trying to reimagine Seattle, make it a more beautiful place to visit. What's the result of all of that? People still don't want to come here. People still don't want to visit. In fact, of all the cities in the nation, all of them, Seattle is going to see the biggest drop in tourism this year. There's this new report out, and one of the elements I want to focus on is the international visitors. Seattle is going to have fewer international visitors than 2024, so in 2025. And recent data from Oxford Economics says Seattle is predicted to see a 27% fall in overnight international visitors in 2025. That is the biggest drop among U.S. cities, Portland, Oregon being the second, with an 18.4% decrease. And of course, they're trying to paint it as, well, it's not all bad news. That number is going to go up over the next 2 years. Yeah, because we have World Cup coming. So it's bound to go up a little bit, but it's still not great. And I'll get to what they blame it on, because I'm sure you can already guess what, or rather who, they're blaming all this on. But think about this. For the last 15 years, we've been in this transformational period for the city of Seattle, where they want to make it a more beautiful place to visit, want to, go back to the days of being a world-class city. We're digging a hole underneath the city. We're putting a road down there. We're getting rid of the viaduct. We're beautifying this. We're connecting Pike Place to the waterfront. It's going to be amazing. We've spent billions of dollars. Of any city in the nation, tourism is dropping faster here than anywhere else. And they want to blame, what do you think they want to blame? Well, Orange Man bad, of course. One of the reasons, and Oxford Economics points to this, is because border visitors from Canada. Because Trump's mean or whatever, has been mean to Canada. And so the reason that we would attribute Seattle having the largest drop in overnight international visitors is because fewer Canadians are coming here. Now, you could look at that and say, well, that's legitimate if Seattle were the only major city on the border with Canada. But of course, we have a big, long border with Canada that extends all the way to the other coast of America. And still, where you're seeing the impact on tourism is Portland. And when you look at other economic indicators, right, that are happening in Seattle, the interesting thing is, and this is all from, by the way, the Economic and Revenue Forecast for August of 2025. So this is the brand new information from the Office of Economic and Revenue Forecasts and the City of Seattle Budget Office. So when they're looking at maybe some of the good news economically, which I think this is going to underscore the point I'm making. The economic outlook, they say, has improved somewhat since April. So that, shouldn't have any impact on visitors. Tariffs, they say, have not resulted in higher inflation, although they put yet in parentheses. Regional inflation forecast for Seattle metro area, they say it's actually cooled down. So like inflation, the cost of goods here, these things aren't going up. The economic outlook has actually improved since April. The regional employment forecast, they say, for the Seattle Metropolitan Division, is that the US economy is avoiding a recession. It's maybe outperforming what some expectations were. Okay, so like people aren't poor, basically. People are doing just fine. So why aren't they visiting? And why aren't they spending money here? So when you look at the next slide, collection outlook and forecast risks sales tax. Look how much the sales tax in the city of Seattle has plummeted. Sales tax collections, and this is across all sectors, including leisure and hospitality. Absolutely plummeting, and it's been plummeting since the second half of 2023. So when you try to piece all of that together, right? And you look at, okay, we've spent billions of dollars to make the city more appealing to tourists. All economic indicators nationally, because you have to look at them nationally, right? Because that would explain how Seattle is performing from a tourism perspective compared to other cities. Economic indicators nationally are good. Seattle is not the only major border city that has visitors from Canada. So if Canadians are really that mad at Donald Trump or scared to come here or something, it should be affecting other border cities as well. What do you want to bet in this entire economic and revenue forecast that they left out anything about crime and homelessness? It was many pages long. Do you think they had one reference to crime and homelessness in there as maybe an explanation for why people aren't coming to downtown Seattle and spending money, whether locally or international visitors? Not one reference to how bad it is down there. Not one reference to the fact that in the heart of the city, just blocks off, steps off from what are supposed to be our best tourist destinations, you have people folded in half from the Fetty Leans, huddled around in circles, overdosing in plain sight, markets full of stolen goods. You cannot do an accurate assessment of what's happening with Seattle from a tourist perspective without factoring in the crime and the homelessness and the substance abuse. You cannot do it. You cannot do it, but they ignore it. Why? Do they just not want to contend with it? Do they want to ignore it? Do they think talking about it more will mean that less people want to visit here? So instead, we'll literally just put lipstick on a pig, and it'll be the most expensive lipstick money can buy and the ugliest possible pig you could put it on. They've spent 15 years putting billions of dollars worth of lipstick on a pig. And it hasn't done any good. No one wants to sleep with the pig still. No one even wants to pet the pig, frankly, because they don't want to get poked by a dirty needle full of fentanyl. They don't want their kids to step over someone overdosing on the sidewalk. There's a reason Seattle and Portland are having one hell of a time getting people to want to visit. The reputations of those cities are crap, and it's well deserved. So you could spend $10 more billion on the waterfront. You could, hell, let's make it $1 trillion. Let's spend $1 trillion on the waterfront. It will still just be putting lipstick on a pig until you actually address the underlying reasons why the city looks so bad and is so unvisitable. I don't take my family there. My mom's coming in a couple weeks. You think we're going down to Pike Place Market? Hell to the no. It's insane. So you can't love Seattle unless you're willing to look at Seattle and say, there are some serious things wrong here, and they've been wrong for a long time. And we can't blame Donald Trump. We can't blame anyone else but ourselves.